1.48 million. It's so close I can almost taste it. Indivisible's in its final days of funding, and it's just literally a finger touches away from reaching its goal. And with more milestones comes more incarnations. This video is going to be packed with tech, toughness, and beauty. Before we get into it, I'd like to direct you all to this link here. Last week, Mike Z wrote up a blog to go in depth about what he and the Lab Zero team want to do with Indivisible's final product, and once again push the emphasis that the sample you've all been playing is a prototype. We have in our hands Indivisible at its core, and literally the smallest tip of the expansive iceberg. In it, Mike talks about combat mechanics, platforming aspects, as well as clean up the environment's graphics, which a lot of people already think are amazing. For me, the biggest things to note were discussions of the combat mechanics, specifically buffs, debuffs, passive skills, and more status effects. With that being said, my hopes for some of the ideas I've had are looking much brighter, and the variety in which combat plays out will be extremely exciting. Either way, you all should definitely give it a read and check it out. Now, let's meet our next 4 incarnations. First up is Hassam. Hassam is a former professor from the Tower of Wisdom and now has taken to adventuring and engineering. With his huge device mounted to his back, he converts worldly energy known as prana into internal energy, which we know as Edie. Also, if you pay close attention, prana is also used when Razmi uses her healing super, the Prana Pulse. After hearing rumor of a peculiar girl with strange powers, he continues his quest and his research. Looking at Hassam, I can tell his role in the party would have multiple purpose, but more likely focused on party assistance over combat. With his ability to create Edie, he may aid the party with status buffs and rapid Edie gain at the cost of doing damage, but he clearly has been able to fend for himself. For his neutral attack, he could use his machine, which kind of looks like an Edie flamethrower, to burn some massive damage and take out a few enemies along the way. With possible inputs or holding down the attack buttons, you could consume some of your Edie gauge for extra damage. With Hassam's up attack, he could charge up his machine and begin absorbing prana around him or even from enemies to convert into Edie. It could go either towards the party's meter, he could use it to buff his following attacks, or on the following turn, pressing the up attack could release a big explosive attack that drops big damage. For his down attack, I would love to see some visual versatility of his big machine, maybe switching its mode to a support type variant and using the 80 he's gained with his up attack or other means to heal or buff party members for temporary periods of time. Second in line for our tech tag team goes to Compan, the Iron Mouse. Compan started out life as a pickpocket in Tai Krung in order to support her family. After getting arrested, she was sent to an ore processing facility and made to test prototype mining equipment. After many failed tests, the prototype was discontinued, but Compan had other plans. After liberating herself and the prototype, she's back on the scene and using her new thieving tool, all while upgrading and tinkering with it to find its true potential. Compan seems very agile, fast, and full of flair. After reading her full bio, looking at her design, and knowing her class type, we could define her as a heavy-hitting ninja. A female Bang Shishigami mixed with Nathan Spencer, who steals from the rich and just profits from it. Hands down, no pun intended, one of her moves has to be a stealing function. This can lead to acquiring small-time items such as materials, money, etc. But with Compan's bravado, I'd love to see her move in on a target at blinding speed and punch them while knocking an item out of their sprite perhaps. Then as she recovers from her punch, she snags the item and returns to the party lineup. We could relegate this as her normal attack. For Compan's upward attack, she could use her mighty arm to cause a big ground pound and send targets bounding into the sky. Using some of the knowledge from Mike's dev blog, it could also be used in OTG or off-the-ground combos, a great option for crowd control and combo continuance. Finally, Compan's down attack could be big, hypercharged dash punch, almost like a bionic arm! Let's be real, you all knew that it was coming. This move could be used to cause hard pushback, deal damage to a line of enemies, and come with a hefty cost of slow action gauge recovery. But it'd be totally worth it! Third on the list is Kogi. Kogi is probably one of my favorite incarnations to date. This literal beefcake of a man has always aspired to be a master chef and create the most amazing of dishes. But his clan of brawling, battling, and fighters had different plans for him. After completing all his training, he takes his giant cleaver and indestructible walk and travels the land looking for other chefs to test his mettle and his meals. On top of all this, a blog post by Persona revealed that Kogi is also extremely masculine to a fault. He gets lost, doesn't believe in recipes, and is actually a garbage cook. He's just too manly. And that's probably where he gets all those burns on his body from. For a character like this, Kogi again fills the roles of both support and combat, all while doing it in a very fun and unique style. I would also love to see him use and abuse certain enemy types by defeating them and then having an option to cook certain downed enemies and convert them into tasty meals. I reiterate, certain enemies. With Kogi's neutral attack, he could use his giant cleaver to slice up foes and deal big damage, maybe coupled with a bit of a bound or a knockback. For an upward attack, he could use his walk to snag an enemy up and slam them back down into the ground. And for Kogi's downward attack, he could pull out some ingredients and spices and quickly mix something together in his walk that could be used to buff himself or other party members. Maybe, based on his equipments, items in your inventory, and inputs, you could vary the quick dishes for different results, or if you target an enemy instead of an ally, it becomes a debuff or induces heavy damage. Finally, we have Songmu. Songmu was abandoned at a monastery at a young age, aloof, silent, and almost always isolating herself. When she was 10, she witnessed the creation of a sand mandala, and was enraptured ever since. With her sand painting tool, the Chakpur, she brings her mandala to life in miraculous ways. Another design and character that allows so much space and freedom to work with that Songmu is going to be high on my list of must-see characters for Indivisible. Her ability to create will give her access to a slew of roles in the party, but for now we're going to have to figure out what she could do. For these 3 attacks, I'm going to designate aggressiveness, crowd control, and utility amongst all of them. For Songmu's neutral attack, she could create a creature out of sand that would make its way toward an enemy, and upon reaching the enemy, you could make a following input for one of 3 options: a basic strike, a launching uppercut, or a grab, which temporarily holds the enemy. This idea comes from Amingo's Daichi no Kodomo move, where he summons a tiny little cactus creature that travels the screen and does exactly what I stated before. Either a punch, a kick, or a hold. Songmu's up attack could be something very dramatic yet artistic. An idea I had, based purely on her design, is summoning a wave of arms, pushing enemies backwards for a set period of time while doing consistent damage, until they decide to subside. This would give for good crowd control as well as combo potential. And finally, for Songmu's down attack, I would give her an arena trap. She could cast her sand beneath her enemies, and this could cause a slowing effect to anything caught within it. This would not only slow down action gauge, but physical movement for enemies, as well as making it easier to read attacks and properly block. By the time you see this video, the campaign may be successfully funded. But even still, I'm going to keep doing updates as I can turn them out and make more speculations as more info gets dropped. Already, Indivisible's Twitter has made mention of post-funding donations, which means ample opportunity to increase your donations and reach now discussed stretch goals. I'll be sure to cover those in the future. Once again, these theories are all speculations and not official concepts. If you haven't downloaded the Indivisible prototype, be sure to do so at www.support-indivisible.com. Try it and consider donating today. There's only a few days left. Also at this point in time, I've started looking into where certain characters come from or some fun affinities that some incarnations may share. Check out some of the teams I've come up with. And if you've already got your squad in mind, why don't you share them in the comments below, or shout them out to me on Twitter at Maguma Usagi. Let me know why they're going to be your go-to gang. Be sure to like and subscribe, as well as leave some of your own theories in the comments below. I'm Maguma, and I will see you all next time.